one of the fallouts of the Grand National Dialogue. What do you really make of it? Do you think this is an early attempt or it is coming a little bit too late?
Relating the creation of ANS, or the Higher Teachers Training College, BOYA, to the Grand National Dialogue may not be very appropriate. By my, it may be quite remote. There might be a very remote, a very peripheral link between the two, given that that was not one of the immediate resolutions that were taken. It wasn't mentioned in as much as there were so many other things that Anglophones requested for generally. So I might differ with you in that I do not really can point the link, the threat between the Grand National Dialogue, the Anglophone crisis, and the creation of this institution. But to ask me whether it is timely, that is where it might shock viewers for me to say that, as I have said on my social media page, my Facebook page, Unamumu Don't Do, I have termed it as an obsolete and untimely and ill-timed electioneering gift which doesn't meet the needs of the people. I am one of those who, even before the creation of HTTC BOYA, ENS BOYA, have advocated in my own little way on my page again, Unamumu Don't Do, about for the closure of ENSs. That I have, and then people might see it as a paradox that this is a product of an ENS institution who is advocating, because I am a teacher and I graduated from ENS Yaoundé, the Yaoundé version of the Higher Teachers Training College, and people might see it paradoxical that this is somebody who is a product of the system, who has used the bridge to cross the river, and is asking that bridge should be cut down. No, if we look at the bigger picture, I think the creation of ENSs was under a different context. The context of colonial educational policy, of Francophone educational policy, at a time when we didn't have Anglo-Saxon universities. And at a time when we didn't have Anglo-Saxon universities, when we didn't have the faculties of education or the schools of education. But the University of BOYA has been doing a tremendous job. Bamenda has come to queue up to an enormous job in the faculties of education, in the schools of education. And where we see that the value of ENS in the Anglo-Saxon educational system, and by extension in the Cameroonian educational system, is obsolete. I am a product of ENS where I spent 2 years. But maybe if I were to tell you that the quality of work that I see, or the quality of training that I see being done at undergraduate level in the Faculty of Education in UB, far outbeats the quality of work that is done in an ENS in this country. Where an ENS is just a passage pipe. You go in and you are sure to leave in 2 years. By whatever alchemy, people go in and they leave without getting the substance of it. I am a product of it, and so I'm a testimony. And so, but when I compare student teachers that I see in
just
school, in the Baluma Grammar School and in other schools, who are products of the Faculty of Education in BOYA, you can't compare the two.
But when you say that people go through, trainings in the Faculty of Education and they lack substance.
No. When people, I am a product of ENS. Mm-hmm. And the quality of training that is done in the ENSs cannot compete with the quality of training, human power, capacity building that is done at the level of the Faculty of Education.
Place the cards on the table.
I can't place it clearer than this. The training in the faculty is far more superior than the training to the training in ENS. By far. An undergraduate from the Faculty of Education has professional imbibement far better than somebody who lives with a degree and does 2 years in an ENS. I am
Judging from personal experience?
General experience and then observation. And that is why I have advocated repeatedly that this damn ENS should be closed down and we empower the faculties. Let the children, let the students study education in the faculties.
But are you aware that ENS is for specialization? Are you aware?
No, ENS is a training school. Which
in other words, specialization.
Teachers, which trains teachers, which is not different in terms of philosophy from the faculties. But where I have a problem is the quality. And I am saying that we are in a different dispensation, maybe, where we have the universities now and the colleges of education, or you call them the faculties of education, where those same teachers who are being trained in ENS can be trained in the faculties and recruited. How do you place a teacher or a student who succeeds in an entrance exam into ENS compared with one who goes to the faculty, who chooses to go to the faculty and does education at CST? Somebody, because it is a professional school, so-called professional school, that person in the faculties is also doing a professional degree program in teaching, because teaching is a profession. So you go to a professional faculty and you do the same education, and then you come out from there and you come out again.
When you call it a professional faculty, what do you call ENS? A non-professional faculty?
No, that is why I say that in terms of professionalism, you put them at the same level. But in terms of quality, I give credit to those who are training these young boys and girls at the faculty, because they do a far better job. I have had the opportunity to do teacher training of student teachers. I have had the opportunity to train them and to work with colleagues from ENS. That's why I say, and which is something I have advocated for, the so-called ENS should be shut down, and government should instead rather create more faculties of education and empower them, give them the resources to train the teachers for us.
Thank you.
Giving us an ENS at this time is obsolete.
I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that.
And that's what I've said.
So that
because
you can
I have been
elaborate.
advocating for the closure of the existing ones. So I cannot be celebrating this one, because it is creating another obsolete structure to add to a faculty where we would have been able to empower the faculties, give them more weight, give them more respectability, and recruit the students from the faculty into.
I'm going to be coming back to you as vis-a-vis that particular point, and you're going to be stretching it a little bit further. Mr. Sama, Mr. Kikishi Kenneth, I mean, he has said, you know, a handful of good things, but some people are going to salute it with a lot of criticism. However, but let's go back to the drawing board. We know that this is one of the fallouts of the Grand National Dialogue, where it was part of the recommendations that, the HTCC be created in Buea, a specialization where our youths can be, recruited into and trained and be inducted into the teaching milieu. So do you think, personally, that this is a sufficient gesture or a mere token of reconciliation?
Mabel, I'm a cue up from what Mr. Sama just said. That was what I had in my mind before coming to the studio. At the end of the day, I was like, a beggar has no choice. To me, it was like a beggar has no choice. A gift that comes in, and we say a beggar has no choice. Because if we were to follow up from the national dialogue, the fallout of the national dialogue, or the recommendations of the national dialogue, you start to ask yourself whether ENS, amongst the so many recommendations, is a priority for the Southwest region. Mm-hmm. And of course, I think that if I did not find any euphoria from the public in Buea when that decree came out that was creating a higher teachers training institute in Buea. And so it comes back to support what Mr. Sama could be saying.
But no, you talking about the lack of euphoria.
I did not see the streets of Buea people saluting the gift of an ENS.
Why?
It means that there is something wrong. It's like a gift that comes and say a beggar has no choice. They just give what they think. Or we have the pots, we have the other things that we're thinking that will be coming in to boost the economy. And I look at it and ask myself, one of the reasons is that we have a situation because of the crisis, wherein a lot of schools, many teachers, in short, we have excess teachers because some schools are still closed as well. So ENS is coming to train teachers to save well, whereas there are schools that are not operational. So to me, it's a gift that is just coming for political reasons. It's coming at the time of election, that elections are at the corner. It's to me like a gift that's coming to, to start begging for votes. Per se, we have in our institutions that are functioning in the towns that are found in the green zone, there are more teachers than needed, because teachers from the suburbs where schools are not functioning are found in the town or in the green zones. So there's no need for there's no shortage, inadequate teaching staff, as we say, in the southwest and northwest regions, or in the southwest region per se. Secondly, I remember some years back, the Faculty of Medicine, there was some kind of crisis where the Faculty of Medicine had more than 70% of the students who made it to the Faculty of Medicine were not the Southwesterners, and so it benefited. And the people murmured about it. The Minister of Health had to come in. The Minister of this had to come in. I don't know whether till now we have had adjustment. So it's like the National School of Local Administrators, NASDAQ. You go there, you find that the bulk of the students there are not from this region. So if the gift is coming for Southwest, I have said, I have not seen people in Buea really clapping for that degree, except politicians who want to use it for campaigning. But in the true sense of it, talking about the obsolete nature of our teaching institutions, we have been clamoring for skill development. And ENS is still coming to coup in from where Sama is saying. Some years back, I have not been a product of the University of Buea. I came to know about the faculties of teaching, the faculty of education, but in Buea. And I saw that they were doing so well when they go out for their teaching practice. And I'm like, hey, are they ENS? No, the Faculty of Education, UB. I said, wow. So instead of empowering that same institution to train professional, to go professional, because it will come up to there's a lot of expenditure that is going to come in from an institution that is coming in now. The government has to do some funding, whereas they would have added the budget of the University of Buea to professionalize their educational system, and it would be better off than creating another institution under the University of Buea coming to compete or coming to to lessen even the professionalism that Ruby should have, stepped up. So I think that it is really obsolete. I have mentioned some points, and I think that we are not in a crisis situation where we need teachers in secondary schools in the Southwest, and so we are celebrating the ENS that is coming to boost up.
You've mentioned two things.
But even without ENS, Buea, the majority,
Mr. Kekishi
there was
Kenneth,
once a time that ENS had more Southwesterners than any other.
You've mentioned two things.
But was it because ENS was from Buea? No.
You've mentioned two things: the obsolescence of the HTTC, and of course talking about people not saluting the presidential decree because it's not a priority.
If this is the fallout of the Grand National Dialogue, there are so many other things that would have been taken into consideration that would boost the economy.
What then is a priority at this time?
The voices that are in the bushes are not. They are not going to come into ENS. They don't have that level. So you better carry out from the recommendations of Grand National Dialogue, things that can boost the economy and pull out boys from the bush to join in the workforce and transform Cameroon and transform the Southwest region and other regions and boost the economy of the country. You are bringing ENS that we still have the elites, the same kind of caliber of people that are in their houses now. They are not in the bushes. So we need to think. I cannot salute an action that. It's not going. If it is an action, a recommendation from the Grand National Dialogue, the priorities should be given to what can actually make or cause the crisis to stop, to curb the crisis, to even cause. Because if we are doing anything now, let us consider the people that are fighting. Why are they holding guns? They don't have skills. Is ENS going to bring the skills for them to come out of the bush? Would they have that level?
Is it going to be just to say those holding these guns don't have skills?
A majority of them don't have skills. Now they have the gun skills anyway. They have the gun skills now. That's true. But the other skills that are needed, they're not only the gun skills that we need. We need other skills to develop an economy. And so we should be considerate if we are implementing the Grand National Dialogue recommendations to see which ones can actually lead to slow down the crisis, because people feel that the economy is booming and so they don't have reason to stay in the bushes. That is my opinion.
All right, thank you so much. And dear televiewers, of course, that expose was from Mr. Kikishi Kenneth. We have been joined by a great mind who is very mindful of so many things. And it is always a great delight to know that we have a psychologist in our midst and a mental expert. And of course, he wears so many hats on his, so many feathers on his cap. Amid which is a political analyst. Dr. Busi has been here from time immemorial, and he's here on the show today. You're very much welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, Madam the Moderator. I want to use this opportunity to greet my co-panelists. It's been a while, I've not been here. I think that I want to also contribute my own little voice as nation building is concerned, because we are talking on topical topics that are very, very important. Education and issues of football in our country, and I think that education is a fountain of life. And Albert Einstein said that education is a tool that builds the mind, and we cannot deny that ENS is not important. It's important, but we need our priorities too. When you give me the opportunity, I'll talk more about that. Thank you.
That's fine. Since you have the microphone, you were one of the people, to whom these two topics were pushed. And of course, we could not help but have your intellect on the show tonight. We are looking at the creation of the HTTC in Buea. Do you think this is a political maneuver to canvass votes ahead of 2025?
Nevertheless, I will first of all appreciate the head of state, President Paul Biya, for creating the higher teacher training college in the University of Buea. I want to say that 2025 is coming. It can be political and it can be apolitical too, but I think that is to an extent it's political to a greater extent, because we know election is coming up very soon. But we are not looking at elections for now, but we want to look at the educational part of it. I want to say that, Madam, if you look at ENS, sometimes I read on social media, people started writing that they are going to appoint a rector in economy. I said, no. I saw political analysts writing that. I want to say that ENS, first of all, is a school. Mm-hmm. It's like an establishment. It's like a faculty. It means that another faculty has been added in the University of Buea, okay. And the faculty, a director will be appointed to lead that faculty, that establishment. Mm-hmm. I want to look at ENS. It's a school that trains teachers, and I want to say that my faculty of education, mm-hmm. we are the ones who train teachers. Mm-hmm. And it will be a kind of, like Pasama said when I was entering the studio, and the other co-panelists, it will be a duplication of services, because I've been analyzing that it's good that we make the faculty of education to train the teachers, because our students are very proficient and skillful, because we train students in curriculum studies and teaching. And when I talk about curriculum studies and teaching, in all the subjects, whether physics, whether chemistry, whether biology, whether mathematics, whether philosophy, we train all these students to go and teach. And we also have the Department of Psychology, because you cannot be a teacher, you cannot be a student teacher in the higher economy without doing psychology, because you have to understand the kind of persons in your classroom and issues of diversity in the classroom and how to manage your classroom. Mm-hmm. And we also do pedagogy, and pedagogy is very important, because we train them in pedagogy, how to teach the kind of learners they see in their classroom, and also andragogy, because adult learning is also very important because of diversity. And we train them in administration, because as a teacher we have the Department of Educational Foundation and Administration, and we have programs like leadership, and we train them in administration too. So I want to say that though ENS is very important, but the Faculty of Education does all this kind of training. And most of us in the faculties, if you go to ENS Bambili, there are still my colleagues in the Faculty of Education that teach in Economy Superior de Bambili, meaning that the Faculty of Education should be professionalized, because we are talking about the BMP system. And I want to tell you that if you have a higher economy diploma, you cannot do master degree, because you cannot just go and do master degree because it's a professional diploma. That's the difference. Now, but somebody with a master in education, you can do a PhD. That's the difference, because now ENS is professional. Why we should make our viewers understand this, why the university under the Faculty of Education is all about certification, is academic, why ENS is professional. And with ENS, the faculty trains teachers who go out there and they are not directly employed by the state, and that's the issue we are facing now. And ENS also is not directly being, it will not be employing this kind of learners who will come to ENS. That's still the problem. So none will employ people in public service. That's the problem, except they'll write a competitive exams in ENS. Those who graduate in ENS, they'll write another competitive exam by public service to be employed now by the government. So it becomes an issue. So I want to look at ENS from a detailed perspective, and I will say that those who have gone to ENS, especially with ENS Bambili and so on, I want to talk about Emeritus Professor Chombe. She has trained most of these ENS students in the faculty level and at the level of the university. And I've supervised students in ENS too, in INSEC Kumba. So I want to say that when you look at it, it's a diploma. And I will ask myself that, why is it that we cannot train these students at the level of the faculty and the government now recruits them at the level of the public service? Why? Because when ENS has been created...
in other words, you're saying that the whole idea of the HCCC be swept under the rug or be
it can be under the faculty. So if you look at ENS, it's not under the faculty directly, because it's an establishment on her own. But if you look at the faculty, the same pedagogy, that's what I'm saying, the same psychology, the same administration, that is the same sociology of education, whatever, the same philosophy of education that is taught in the faculty. It's still the same kind of teachers who will go to and teach again in ENS. Me teaching here, don't be surprised that I will still go and teach in ENS Boya, because we have the same curriculum. In Faculty of Education, we are the one who draws their program.
Okay, now, with all of these values that you've attached to the Faculty of Education in these universities, where is the HTTC void? A lot of the viewers are going to be mouth open. They want to find out, where is it void? Where is it not sufficient?
Okay, when you look at ENS, madam, from a greater perspective, I want to say it's important because it's a professional training. You don't receive certification, you receive a diploma as a professional in a field. And I want to say that in ENS, you cannot go to education, and in our context in Cameroon, you have a master degree in curriculum studies and teaching in history, and they'll call you a teacher. In our context, you are not a professional teacher. A professional teacher in the context of Cameroon is somebody who have gone to economy superior, whether to the higher level or to the lower level. That's what is for with the economy. But in education, you are climbing the ladder of academics. But I want to look at it from a skill base, because we are talking about skill-based education. INSEC is there. We have INSEC Kumba. And when you look at INSEC Kumba should be more of technical. It should be more of technical. We should train teachers who will go and train technical school teachers with the skills and so on. But are we doing that same thing? But now, when you look at ENS, it's general education. The kind of pedagogy that is given in ENS is still given in the faculty. That's why you see PhD holders who are employed in the Faculty of Education are also employed in INSEC and in ENS. I have colleagues that during our recruitment, some of them were employed at the faculty, while some were employed at ENS, because we received the same training in the university. You get what I'm saying? So it's a kind of duplication. So if we could because in other counties they don't have training schools, they have faculties. But ENS is also very, very important in the sense that their curriculum is based mostly on practice. They go to field works, they go for teaching practice and so on for a longer duration of time, more than those in the faculty. So we train them to be skillful. We train them to have that professionalism on how to teach students in the classroom. But the problem here is that it's the same kind of curriculum in the Faculty of Education that some of us have been advocating for the government to see that our students in the faculty could be recruited at the level of the government. But if you look at Economa Superior, a child that will be writing geography, a child that will be writing history, and so on, is the same pedagogy in the Faculty of Education, curriculum study in history and in geography, whether it's chemistry and so on. But now in ENS, they have the director. They have a director. In the faculty, we have a dean. We have a dean that manages the faculty, but we have a director that manages ENS, to say that it's more professional. And all the teachers, most of the lecturers who teach in ENS are people who have PhD and who have professional certificates too. Most of them have passed through Economa Superior too, and they have that expertise. And you see that not everybody also in the faculty can become a teacher. That's the truth. Because those who have gone to training schools, they have learned certain professional deontology and professional ethics that those in the faculty have not learned. So sometimes it's difficult to, you cannot go somewhere and then you say you have read CST and you say you're a teacher. Though you are a teacher, but professionally in the context of Cameroon, a teacher is somebody who have gone to that professional school called Economa Superior, known by the state of Cameroon, a school that trains teachers. And we are the teacher trainers. The teacher trainers are still the PhD holders from the Faculty of Education. But ENS is not under the Faculty of Education. It's an institution on its own, and the rector or the vice chancellor is in control of Economa Superior, while they have a director that manages the day-to-day affair of ENS. At the end of, and the same thing is that, another issue is that the kind of exams they write in ENS is not the same exams they write in the faculty. The kind of term paper they defend in ENS is not the same kind of term paper we defend at the level of masters and PhD. So they have their own curriculum. They have their own way of doing their own things. So ENS has her own way of doing things, but having ENS is not a certificate, it's a diploma. It's a professional diploma. And the state of Cameroon and those in ENS take an oath. It is because in nursing there's an oath, in the teaching field there's an oath. Only professional teachers take an oath at the end of their training. They take an oath. But in education, you will not take an oath. You cannot take an oath. But it's now the context. The context is different. But I think that is a political issue. It's a political issue.
I think I'm going to have you.
It's a political issue in the sense that if if education was like, because education would have been the school of education. And you will see that the school of education, if government made it as such, school of education, the school of education would train teachers, the school of education would train psychologists, the school of education would train all those people. But now it is a faculty. A faculty is all about academics. A faculty is not all about training professionalism. Though we have professional courses, it's more of academic. And sometimes in the faculty, there are professional programs. If you have a professional master's in a field, you cannot do a PhD. There are some MBAs that you cannot do a PhD. So those are the difference. It's just a rigmarole. But I want to say that ENS is still good, but I think that there is duplication. There is duplication. I will tell you that most of the lecturers who lecture in the University of Buea and the Faculty of Education and other faculties, they go there to teach lecture in ENS. But the truth is that not all lecturers are pedagogues. That's the sense. Not all because somebody from law is not a pedagogue. It's a lecturer. If a PhD holder in law, a PhD holder in sociology is not a pedagogue. But a PhD holder in education who has received training in Economa and in this teacher training college, this grade 1 school, is a pedagogue. I'm a pedagogue because I went to a grade 1 school. So that's the difference. But ENS is fully professionalism. And they have their own deontology. They have their own. They teach teachers how to be disciplined. They teach teachers how to, the pedagogy on how to teach, on how to disseminate knowledge. But when you enter a lecture hall, like in academics, like in education, you are lecturing. You are lecturing. You are not teaching. University is not teaching, it's lecturing. That's the difference between ENS. But university is changing now to the BMP system and to the competence-based approach that is more skills-based and student-centered. But I want to say that ENS is purely professional, though it's good, but there are some duplication because most of the curriculum in education is still in ENS.
Thank you, Doctor. I think that's very clear enough, and you've set a very solid and a very rigid foundation here. I mean, for the viewers and myself, I think you now understand. I want to subscribe to the idea that it could be a duplication, but now the million-dollar question still is it a priority? Something could be a duplication and yet still a priority. Mr. Sama Abang, you were about to say something.
Maybe I really don't want to go against doctor's analysis, which is quite technical. We have the School of Medicine in Yaoundé, the Popular QS, which is a professional school. But under you do have the Faculty of Medicine.
Health Science.
It's political.
Health Science. Does that change the content of learning? We still have the same medical doctors who are trained in the so-called QS and the same medical doctors who are trained in the Faculty of Health Sciences. And so, does the substance matter? It doesn't. And so, it is just a matter of, background. There is the...
By background, what do you mean?
That's what I want to say. There is the Francophone background of concours, where every recruitment into the public service is through a concours. Go to next door Nigeria, where they don't have such professional schools or concours culture.
System.
How do they recruit their teachers and their medical doctors? You train them in the schools of education, in the faculties of education, and then absorb them when need arises. There is just no reason, Mabel. There is just no reason why we have the faculties of education, which are, as I have said, and kudos to all the deans who have passed through that faculty, from Chombe to Titanji to Agbobechem to the others, all the professors who have done a good job to train young people. And then you bring an ENS with the concours culture, which comes to give an elitist appearance, that the child who will have advanced level and writes ENS first cycle is superior to one who goes to the Faculty of Education, who has chosen that I want to go to the Faculty of Education to study education, and the one who is chasing a matricule. Unfortunately, that matricule thing has been scrapped from last year. Maybe what does it cost quantitatively to train one student teacher in a professional school like ENS? The cost. I spoke with a friend who is a head of department in NSET, HTTTC, Bamenda, and he said in his whole department, which has 4 programs, he has 11 students since that issue of privatization was introduced. That now you go there and then you are trained and you come out and look for your job. But that department has about 15 lecturers, full-time, part-time, to train 11 students. And so that is why I said, and I'm still saying it, and I'll defend it anyway, the days of the relevance of ENSs and NSETs has been outlived.
You've lambasted enough.
That is why I say, yes, that's why I say, and I keep saying it,
I need you to push.
government ought to have shut down these schools and change the mentality.
Mr. Sama, bringing you back
and
to the
go
concours
back.
system.
Yes.
Bringing you back there.
Listen to one thing I'm saying. Listen to one thing I'm saying. And which is where I may differ from Doctor. Even in the faculties, there are professional faculties. The Faculty of Health Science is a professional faculty.
No.
The Faculty of Education is a professional faculty.
No,
because
programs are professional, not the faculty.
Listen.
It's an academic.
Listen, it is academic. It is a matter of nomenclature.
Yeah, the nature.
No, it's a matter of nomenclature, not a matter of content. This bottle.
So are you saying
plastic.
they are the
This
same content, Mr. Sama?
Listen to what I'm saying. And that is why he has acknowledged the fact that it is just mere duplication of creating something else which wasn't called for, which you could have used the resources to reinforce the faculty, give more relevance to the faculties. A majority of us, when ENS was still ENS, where there is automatic recruitment into the public service, a majority of us, of my colleagues who are teachers today, would not have loved to be teachers. There's that concours mentality. But the person who buys an admission form for UB and takes first choice CST history, second choice CST geography, third choice CST economics, is a born teacher because that person has chosen to go and do education as a profession. That is all for now. But the next thing, and that is where I may come back to what we talk about priorities. And there I'll cue in with Kikishi. Unfortunately, Kikishi did not see it from my light. If at all the creation of ENS happened to have been one of the recommendations of the Grand National Dialogue, which I still doubt.
It was.
But was it the prime recommendation? That is why we say, rather than you create, given that.
How do you stamp something as prime? I mean, this is shooting yourself on the leg.
No. Prime means primordial, because you asked, was it priority? Was it among the priority recommendation?
But was it there?
Then I am getting it from you, and that is why I would have said, what would have? Because he's asking, because if it was a recommendation, then it was recommended or was prescribed as one of the solutions to the problems, or one of the solutions, or one of the points that would have helped to prevent the escalation of the problem or a regeneration of the problem. And what are we saying? Before the crisis started, there was already HTTC Bamenda. There was, I'm sure, already HTTC Kumba had already started. There was already ENS Bamenda already going up. What Anglophones, what would have helped if at all it was created as a recommendation or as a response to the recommendation would have been a law school, a school of law, which is what Anglophones have cried for so far, which is what Anglophone lawyers have cried for. Maybe we are in a system where there is a law. Unfortunately, we are in a lawless system. We are in a system where there is a law that states that the bar entrance exams, the entrance exam into the Bar Association for young lawyers will be launched every December every year. That it will be launched every other December. Young boys and girls have just written the exams and the first phase of the results have been published. Maybe this exam is coming 9 years after. 9 years after. The last time it was launched was in 2015, and then it was launched now in 2014. I mean, 2024. 9 years after. But if there was need to listen to the recommendations of the Grand National Dialogue, as you claim that this is one of them, that's why I say it now depends on who gives. Kikishi said, because we are beggars, we don't have a choice. But I think if they had listened, and the intention was to listen to the recommendations of the Grand National Dialogue, a law school under the common law tradition.
Now, and this brings me to one of the questions.
Would have been able to help.
Mr. Sama, at this point, please catch your breath, Mr. Kikishi. At this point,
I still have my breath. Maybe just allow me finish. And that is why I said, whoever recommended or requested for the creation of ENS, one, was asking for a stalemate, outdated request. Secondly, where I have another problem is the localization. Maybe we are talking of, we are in a system of decentralization. And he who says decentralization is saying decongest. Is to decongest. Decentralization is intended to decongest. And you create an ENS in Buea with the saturation. We understand the congestion we have, the congestion problem in terms of climatic condition, human population, and even accommodation in Buea now. And you create it and you still force it in Buea without a proper town planning mechanism of how the added population is coming to cope. Would this not have been a problem? Whether it was a recommendation of the Grand National Dialogue that, okay, to decongest and to make those who are in the hinterlands feel a bit of decentralization. Let us take this faculty and add it to the existing one in Kumba. Or let us say, okay, the people of Indian have this one as their own fallout. The people of Kupe Maning, what has the Kupe Maning man benefited from the Grand National Dialogue? Almost nothing. I mean, palpable, almost nothing. And that's why I said, not only do I have a problem with the creation of the institution itself, which is obsolete, but I have a problem with the localization, which is moribund, which to me is out of place.
Please,
Thank you so
let
much.
me just say something. I want to say
Dr.
that,
Busi, I'm going to be coming to you,
just-
please, in just a
I'll
moment.
be very, very brief.
Okay.
Please. I'll not take your time that much. I want to say that I think that the University of Buea is a very big university. And the University of Buea, before the government thought of creating ENS, they have seen the importance of that. And the University of Buea can house that. And in terms of issues of land, the University of Buea has vast land, unused land everywhere, please. We should take note of that. He's talking about issues of other people also enjoying the largesse of that. I want to say that we have faculties here. It takes everybody. It takes even people from the north, the east.
Not limited to just in the
not
southwest.
limited only to people in the southwest. So I want to say that they can call it University of Buea, but they can see the location. The university is the one to decide where the location will be.
Okay.
Meaning that
No.
Okay,
listen, please.
The
I'm talking.
degree
Let him make his
says-
point.
Listen
please.
now, listen.
Higher
Mr.
teachers
Sama-
college.
There was a time.
Buea.
You are the- when
Buea.
you-
Mr. Sama, please, let him make
there
his
was
point.
there was a time that they were talking about what agriculture that it would take place somewhere, and people were rioting and so on. They were talking. It's the University of Buea that is housing.
Which could be located at any
It
place.
can be located. They can say University of Buea is still located in Fako. Here in Fako, it can still be in Limbe. It can still be anywhere. The University of Buea, the vice chancellor has the right to determine. Let me tell you, the vice chancellor has certain powers. If you look at the university governance, you will see that the vice chancellor is like a state of state is a arm of minister. And when you look at university
Yeah.
governance, university
Yeah.
governance in terms of administration,
state.
university governance in social governance, administrative governance, and so on, technological governance, the vice chancellor has a power to also say that
This thing can be in Tico.
he is talking with the minister.
Okay.
He can talk with the minister and they determine where it can be located. But for now, I want to say that if it's an issue of land, the University of Buea has.
Can you be a little bit categorical about this point you've made? You know, which means even if it's a faculty, it doesn't mean it needs
must
to
not be inside the
inhabited.
campus.
Okay.
No, the fact that it's a faculty, they can take it in one village in Buea.
Okay.
Are you getting me? ENS can be in any of the villages in Buea. It must not be in this campus here. Is campus B in the same campus? No. University are spreading. Go to Nigeria, other places. Faculties are spreading. A faculty can be in another town. ENS can be in another town here, in another village in Buea, in another suburb in Buea. It depends
Which is
on
still attached.
which is still attached to
Of
UB.
course. Yeah. Mr. Sama has talked, pointing it to be a stalemate, and that even if it were a recommendations or a fallout of the Grand National Dialogue 2019, that it is not priority. Now, this brings me to the question, which ought to be priority? Because at a certain point, it seems like the Anglophones are milking the crisis and they are becoming overly demanding, and no matter what is going to be implemented or whatever decree, there is never going to be anything or a stride or a palpable attempt that is going to bring down flaring tempers. Mr. Kikishi, what do you think?
The Grand National Dialogue was organized because of the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region. Except you say no. If you say yes to that, it was in the direction of seeing what could be done to solve the problem of the crisis or what caused the crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm correct in my own analysis of the reason for the dialogue, then the recommendations that were made have to be tilted towards resolving the problems of the Anglophones. And if that is also correct, then we have to look into the list of priorities according to hierarchical order, which is which is closer to the cause of the problem, and which can bring a solution to the problem. And in that line, I would also key in to think that the first people who started the Anglophone problem, the crisis, that a manifestation that led to the crisis, were lawyers that were clamoring for the use of common law in our courts and everywhere. And so I would also cue in with Mr. Sama to say that if that was the case, a law school would have been the first priority of the Anglophones. A common law school in Cameroon. We don't have law schools in Cameroon. And even when people go out and study in law schools out there, they have the equivalence is not validated. And so a lot of our brothers, most of our brothers and sisters who went out to Gambia and all the like, they have been frustrated. And like he said it, the bar council, the bar examination, which has to be organized every year in the December,
just comes after 9 years.
Just practically 9 years after, with more than 5,000 candidates who sat in. Here it's about 1,700 or 2,000 something that passed. And so you realize that that is a priority. That could have been a priority in line with the causes of the Anglophone problem. The ENS Buea is not to me a priority to solve the Anglophone problem, so it is out of place. Now we are talking about the system of the professionalism of universities, of our faculties. The shortfalls in our pitfalls in our universities vis-a-vis professionalization. I think we need to do a standardization of our university system and then usher in professionalism in all faculties, and then we will not have need for duplication of institutions, which brings a lot of cost. Cameroon has to downsize the cost of its economy to be able to meet up with its challenges. They are just creating another university that will require another budgeting and infrastructural demand. Simply, where the solution would have been simple to standardize the faculties of education in all universities and make them professional. And whatever Dr. Bushi is saying that are the shortfalls in our universities vis-a-vis the professionalism, they bring in there simply is the text and change that kind of revitalization of the system to be more professional, and then we have everything in one. And we will not create duplicate services where people will be taking 3 salaries again because it's board of director in University of Buea, board of director in ENS Buea, board of director in Kumba. One person will now occupy 3 positions, earning different amounts of money for the same. The government should come to its senses to see what Cameroon is. Secondly, we are talking about a system that is obsolete. Obsolete, why? Because we have focused more on the academic aspect without looking at how to improve on the skills that we have. So in INSET Kumba, Dr. Bushi also mentioned that the INSET Kumba should be reinforced to become that powerful skill-building institution where Cameroonians will come out not to talk about certification and diploma, but about skills, competence. The competence-based approach is not supposed to be focused on certifications. It is supposed to be built on skills. What can you produce out of this institution? What a student stand and say that I can make this, I can, I'm a good tiler, I'm a good electrical engineer, and I have done this, we have seen even people that are coming up with research from very small institutions, which the government is unable to finance, to finance the production of either caterpillar or whatever machinery, simple machineries in this country. So that is what the government is supposed to tilt its attention to. And like I said, and I will still say it again, if ENS Buea was a priority, the streets of Buea, my brothers of the other party, they would have marched in the streets of Buea in their numbers to salute that. But it's not a priority. It's not coming to solve any. We don't have a teacher deficiency in our secondary schools. We don't. On the contrary, the lycée is. If Mr. Sama can even go by statistics, you see that the lycée is crowded with people from suburbs who cannot teach there because schools are not ongoing there. So what's the need of an ENS? It is absolute.
Does it suffice, loosely borrowing from what Mr. Sama was saying, does it suffice to categorically ask the question of what benefits the ENS is to the person at Ikondo Titi? We have a call on the line. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the program Matters.
Hello.
Yes, welcome to the program Matters. You are on.
No.
Good evening and welcome to the program Matters. anyways.
I was going to come to step in to talk about the location of the institution. Someone made an analysis of the demographics of this town. It is not about the university land. The land is there. It is about the congestion and the capacity.
But you are
for the
drifting for
university.
location.
Eh?
The question is, how beneficial or how logical is it to ask that the creation of the HGCC, of what benefits is it going to be to the person of Ekondo Titi?
That is why I'm coming. That's why I'm coming. I'm talking about this. I'm coming in to answer you. If it has to benefit the person of Ekondo Titi, we should start thinking that University of Buea, it is the ENS is coming under University of Buea. It must not be necessarily located in Buea. That is what I am saying. And if there is to me, I was thinking of relocation.
Can I correct something?
Correct
something which Dr. Busi
It's not correct. It's not correct. Can you say something?
Which he erroneously downplayed.
No. It is his opinion.
It's my opinion,
No,
not correct.
Mr. Sama, it is opinion.
To your own view.
No.
To your own
To
view.
your view.
To your view.
No, it's okay. Give your submission.
The decree said
Dr. Busi and Mr. Kikishi, I'm going to give the microphone to whoever I deem
Don't say
fit.
that, no.
Thank you so much.
That's why I have a problem.
Yes.
No, it's your view.
They didn't talk about location.
Listen, Mabel, listen. Read that decree. The creation of ENS Buea in Buea.
In Buea, meaning that Buea is a municipality. It can be anywhere in Buea.
It means that my opinion, it means that my thinking that is going to be located to Manfred or to wherever can it work.
I'm saying that it can be anywhere. There are villages in Buea now. There are very remote areas in Buea. There are remote areas in Buea that it can happen.
There's no room for it being located.
It's same like the University of Bamenda. The University of Bamenda can departments can be anywhere.
It cannot be taken out of Buea municipality.
But Buea has royal communities.
Saturated. And that's what we are saying.
Buea is oversaturated.
Moliko is saturated, not Buea.
Buea is oversaturated.
No,
Moliko is
Look at the traffic
saturated.
density.
Please.
Is it affecting
Please,
only
ENS is
Moliko?
important to an extent. We should not be looking at it political because I see us talking more of political issues
now,
here.
does the traffic situation in Moliko affect that where the Faculty of
villages
Health Sciences is?
Yes, of course.
Does it affect the traffic situation?
The accommodation, the students from faculty and personnel from faculty or Faculty of Health, are they staying only around the Faculty of Health? They are staying in other quarters. They are free to stay.
Fine.
Stay in
Mr.
Tole and
Sama, you
Bode.
were going
But
to
look
give
at
a
how
submission.
what it takes for them to be there.
That's fine.
In school days. So all of them are not located in their campus. So they have to travel from other crannies of the town to be there. So it affects everybody. Now, the fact that there is every month or every year, there's an additional several hundreds of students coming into the University of Buea for admission affects the demographics of Buea. Housing shortages is there. Water, we don't have enough water supply. What are you saying? We have light costs because of population density. The social amenities that are there cannot contain the population, the inflow of the population. That's what we are saying.
Okay, now if a law school were created, would it have settled?
Well, it must not have been in Buea.
Would it have settled the problem of water?
We are saying that if it was in line with the request or the recommendations of the Anglophone Conference, or Grand National Dialogue, it should have been tilted towards giving a solution to what was the root cause of the Grand National Dialogue. Why was the Grand National Dialogue organized? Because there was an Anglophone crisis and with a list of issues. And one of the things where it started was about a strike on a common law system. So have we had a law school created? No. So even if we could have even accepted the congestion in town in Buea for a law school, but not an ENS, which duplicates the services the faculties are already doing. That's what we are saying. If it was so vital, we would accommodate it and say that, okay, since it's coming to solve one of the priorities of the Grand National Dialogue, let us bear it.
Madam, please permit me to say, I think that when ENS was created, there was no decree that it was created to solve one of the recommendations of the measure.
That is what.
Please,
that was the.
No, listen to me. There's no text that says that it was created to solve, because it was a surprise to many people too. It was a surprise to some people too. So I want to look at ENS and its importance. I don't want to look. ENS is just like one establishment. It's not like creating another university. It's just a faculty. It's like a faculty, but another way called an establishment. It's an additional establishment like School of Technology in UB. And you see what School of Technology has done in UB. Go inside UB now. After the U block, you see the development that is going on there now inside that remote area. You see the development to tell you that the University of Buea is capable to harbor the economy. But we should be looking at the importance of that. And I also want to look at it also from this perspective. ENS also will employ some people. It will bring employability for some people. It will benefit some families. There are many people that ENS will employ them, whether I like it or not. It will employ people, administrative staff, administrative assistants, even teaching academic staff. You employ people. And I want to say that ENS is not like a whole university. It's just an establishment that trains teachers. Because we would have been focusing on the fact that whether ENS is more important than the faculty or the presence of the faculties that we have, Faculty of Education here in the University of Buea, Faculty of Education in Yuba. Do we still need economy? That's why we have been focusing, not talking about bar. We cannot be talking about bar because I don't think that President Paul Biya created ENS because of the Anglophone crisis. If you are saying that it's a political issue because 2025 is coming, I will say so. But I want to say that we are not saturated with Buea. Is not saturated as people think. Moliko can be saturated, but not Buea, because I've gone to some remote areas here in Buea. There are some villages in Buea that, if you look at the inhabitants, they are still living that communal life. Village life.
Can you take a taxi?
Listen now. Listen. So I'm thinking that the problem we're having with ENS is an issue of policy. Meaning that we would have been thinking that we revise our curriculum. Revising our curriculum because most of my colleagues in the faculties, they teach in ENS. And most of my colleagues, we had PhD together. They were sent to Economa, while some of us were sent to the faculties.
But that's a little bit contradictory on your part,
no,
Dr.
listen.
Busi. When you
Listen.
say that revising the curriculum, now does it defeat the essence of duplicacy?
Listen, what I'm saying.
Okay.
We would have revised our curriculum to be one.
Okay.
So that the faculties can train the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that because if you look at the curriculum of ENS and that of the faculty, it's almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that anybody teaching in the faculty can still teach in Economa Superior, because we don't have specific trained teachers for Economa Superior. They're still the same professors in education and the same professors because ENS is general. This one is general. It's not INSEC that trains technical school teachers. This one trains grammar school teachers. And these people are mostly professionals from the faculties. Meaning that we would have revised one curriculum and the issue of ENS would have been under the faculty. Not like an establishment on its own. It would have been like ENS would have been like even a department in the faculties. Because in most universities abroad, they don't have faculties again, they have schools. We have Faculty of Education, and they were talking about educational psychology. No, go to most universities, they have School of Psychology. They have School of Education. They don't have School of Psychology. Is a very vast. We have more than 100 branches of psychology. So we have a School of Psychology that teaches different branches. We have department of different branches of psychology now under the School of Psychology. So ENS would have been like a small branch in the School of Education. Are you getting me? That we have the same curriculum that trains this kind of people. But now ENS is a school on its own, an establishment on its own with her own director. And sometimes this director, they don't even listen to some of the rectors because they feel that, because they say they are the director of ENS.
Autonomous.
And you know that they think that they are autonomous, and it's a kind of political position because you, as appointed as a director of ENS, you have certain privileges that the text says. You have a car, you have certain privileges. You think that you are more independent. So sometimes there's that conflict between the rector and the director of Economa Superior, because they feel that they are independent. They feel that they are the one to even supervise everything concerning the competitive exams, not the university. Like writing the exam the director of ENS will feel that I'm the one to control the exam, not even the university. So I think that ENS would have been a small umbrella under the faculty. That's where the problem lies. But ENS also, if it was an umbrella, because most of our students that have trained in the University of Buea, they came from, some of them have come from Economa to do their masters, and we are training them. Meaning that ENS, they would have done some, because university, they do some kind of short programs, that even those in ENS, they would have been under the faculty, and then after your diploma, because this, let me tell you, madam, you know that before the faculty of education, before you could do masters, people were leaving faculty of faculty of art and other faculties to come and study a diploma in faculty of education. At first, they have cancelled it. There was a diploma program that if you were to do masters, you must do it. A diploma program on pedagogy, psychology, that people were coming from all the other faculties to come and train in faculty of education. It was cut off, meaning that faculty of education would have been training those in ENS to have their diploma, and then they do a top-up program now after a while to have a master degree, not being an establishment on their own. That's where the duplication is coming, because it's still the same kind of curriculum. But now they are saying that ENS is more professional. Who trains those in ENS? Still the people in the faculty. That's where the problem lies. Are you saying that the faculty is not professional? The faculty is professional too. So that's where the problem lies, because those who are training the student teachers are still from the faculty, and the students in the faculty, who trains them? The same lecturers. So are we saying that ENS is more professional than the faculty? That's where the problem lies. And I want to say that our students in the faculty, they do extremely very well. They are teachers in the national territory, and they are performing very well. But the only problem is that they cannot be recruited in the public service.
Bias system.
So that's the issue, that we thought that the government would have prioritized ENS to be under the faculty. We need to revise that. It's a policy issue.
Let's look about
it's complicated.
concourse.
And if you look at ENS, madam, you will see that ENS is from the different subsystem. Economy superior, that's all. And we have subsumed into it to be concours. And you think that those who write the concours and enter ENS, they are more superior than those who go to the faculty. But I want to say that those who go to the faculty will scrutinize. And sometimes we don't even take them, some of them. Because there's first list, second list, and sometimes third list. Meaning that those in the faculty, even they have one of the best GPS. Not because of the crisis now that we are taking, but before they are cut, you are supposed to have a certain rate. But in ENS, you can have your O, 2 O's, but you have a godfather somewhere. You go to Economa, and then you come after their training. You are not even a born teacher, because most of them are not born
So
teachers.
you finally accept that it's obsolete now, Dr.
Listen, I'm coming to that.
You finally accept that it's
Listen. When I started my analysis, I talk about duplication. Two of us, we should stop mixing words here, please.
No,
People are the one mixing words. When I started my analysis, I talk about duplication. But I can, as a pedagogue, as an intellectual, I cannot just cut off ENS just like that. I'm not a state. I'm still saying that it's still important, but we need to see that it's subsumed to the faculty.
Okay, fine. I think this point should not be overflowed. Mr. Sama, I'm going back to you. You know, you tried shushing me the last time I was going to ask you this. You were trying to, place the cards on the table and distinguishing some of these differences between those who subscribe directly into this faculty of education in the university and those who go through the HCC through the concourse, putting them on a non-equal pedestal. Can you just articulate a little more on that?
I will simply just be repeating what I've said during my 3 previous interventions.
Okay.
And which is that, and I repeat, the creation of ENS Buea with domicile in Buea is out of place, is obsolete, is ill-timed, and irrelevant. Next, I have explained that the problem with the creation of ENS is a misplaced priority because, and I still say it, I have advocated before that government ought to have empowered the faculties to be the nurseries for teachers, so that those who choose to go to the faculties, with or without a guarantee of a matricule, are those who have elected to be teachers. They choose, they go there. We empower the faculties, give them more resources to train them more, and then when need arises, government now recruits them, absorbs them. Especially now that government has decided to privatize ENSs and there is no direct recruitment. And I have said that I have been in the system and I am a product of ENS. And I have had to exchange experiences with products from the two systems. The university has been doing a better job, marvelous job than what the ENSs have been doing. And that's why to me it is outdated for us so many years after, because ENSs existed under the French-speaking system when we didn't have faculties of education. And as we speak, I still do not know whether these faculties have been created in all the other state universities, which may be a reason why government may not want to adopt this this Anglo-Saxon policy and implement it the other way, because it is still strange in the other systems. Let me tell you that unless it is of recent, there was not a faculty of education in the other state universities. If at all Yaoundé has adopted, Yaoundé has adopted, it has not taken up to 10 years.
Yaoundé
it is still very recent, which is why I still stand by the fact that it has to do with an overhauling of the educational policy, right down to the teacher training colleges for grade 1s. We even think that, given the falling standards of education, the falling standards of the products that I, as a teacher, teach, and I see them pass the GCE, and they do not know the difference between an uppercase letter and a lowercase letter, I am even one of those who thinks that they should scrape off the GTTCs, so that whoever wants to be a teacher, whether from basic or secondary, goes to the faculty. It may now just be a matter of your duration, how much time you spend there.
Okay, I think we have a caller on the line. Hello and welcome to the program, Mr. Sama. I'll be giving you back the mic. Hello and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good evening. I'm the Wiz from Boya.
Okay, welcome to the program.
Yes, I just wish to react to a few things that your panelists. I will first of all want to appreciate the panel and the insights Dr. Busi gave, the differences and similarities of ENS and the faculty. That's something that most of us out here did not know. And so the panel has really educated us. The first thing that is my worry is I don't know whether the elites of this region were asked what the presidency could really provide for that school, because the first thing, as you are saying there, the cry of university or that's the one. And if I see the way the reporters have welcomed the ENS, then I saw where that occasion took place. I don't know whether some private institutions, or I mean some professional institutions in Boya, has been made to be those institutions. When something comes like this, they are used politically to march to the governor's office to start making noise. And now it will be like the youths of the Southwest. I think they shouldn't take education to play with it. That they want to maybe bring politics into education. When I saw that scenario, I was very worried, stopping the classes of some professional schools in Boya to march to the governor's office to make noises and so on. Another thing I wish to say is that if they talk the space where the school has been located, one worry I have, maybe Dr. Busi and the others can, why could they not take this school to Kumba, where that training is, so that they start providing land for another university, maybe in the next 10, 20 years. So that, because if you look at the one in Kumba, when it was created, it was politically influenced. Now, since that person who influenced it is not there, this one has just proven that that school in Kumba was supposed to be here in the University of Buea. So I think that if these schools can still be in other regions, normally that's what can still be, they would have made it in a way that they start extending the university at once, the two schools.
How could it have been in Kumba when there is an ENS in Kumba?
No, those are two different schools.
Okay, okay.
Yes. So that is something that maybe the panel can really expatiate on it.
Okay.
Then if I look at the effort of the University of Buea, they came up with something of that nature. That is something that I thought they would have expatiated on that to encourage university and to encourage sciences. Till today, I don't know how that spring water has ended. The last thing I wish to say here is how yes, because my worry is this teachers training. If you look at their performances in schools, it's a problem. And that from the University of Buea, most of them are even taking an activity in going to teach the higher. They will have people from higher ENS who have been brought to those schools, and even the way they express themselves and so on. So it's really a worry.
Thank you.
To me, they would have made it in a way that, as Dr. Bushi said, the faculty would have been expanded, even if they spent 4 years, so that the teachers spent 4 years in faculty and the to make a very a good teacher in the system.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bill Wills. Thank you. But at this moment, we need to take leave of you and take a few comments, Dr. Busi, and we get to the next talking point.
There is something very important that I have to say about you look at our grade 1 teachers. The Faculty of Education is doing a wonderful work with our grade 1 teachers in Cameroon. They are coming in from the Francophone areas, and we train them in distant education. And in distant education, we have the distant education program in the University of Buea that they come for face-to-face tutoring. And I want to say that most of them were trained at the level, because most of them are already government teachers in government primary schools. So they come for their tutorials. They have their own semester that is different. Which ENS would have been like that to have their own semester that is different? We train them, and they have a degree. They have a degree in bachelor's in nursery and primary school education, which fosters their growth also and their skill development. And I think that could also be applied in economy, because most of them come, we just take them. Just those who have received grade 1, they come for the training, for their degree training, which is very, very important and more.
Gentlemen, we are left to just 30 minutes into the next talking point.
Though we are clamoring for the School of Law and other issues, the School of Law is important in Cameroon, very, very important in Anglo-Saxon Cameroon, is very, very important. But I want to say that this school ENS given, it was not a recommendation, it was not an issue, because when you look at when the teachers were striking, teachers were not even striking for economy superior, they were striking for their English culture of education, the Anglo-Saxon culture.
Thank you, Dr. Busi.
So I want to say that though ENS, though it has its limitation, it is also very important in the professionalization.
Let's see what some of the viewers have got to say about you, Mr. Kikishi and Mr. Sama. This one says, greetings, Madam the Moderator. Just to appreciate the panel, especially the educative and professional insight by Dr. Busi Neba on the differences and similarities of ENS and education faculty, something most people out there never knew. I am writing all the way from Bukwango, and I hope Bukwango is doing splendid this evening. This one says, irony not the finish for Cameroon. Okay, thank you so much. Another one, divide and rule. The president want to isolate secessionists and term Ambazonia a Northwest issue, whatever that means. Thank you so much for your reaction. Lloyd Vandolin says everything in Cameroon is politics. These people seems not to know what is their right, or if it's their right to have all the institution that makes the university to be complete in operation. Ignorance too much for some of us. That attachment is simply to educate more francophones to effectively become good at teaching English subjects. How of this anglophone will admit your English wasn't very clear, but thank you so much for your reaction. Fumble Chow says the government of Cameroon keeps repeating one and the same mistake, creating institutions without adequate infrastructures. Cool Thing says training the same people who on a daily are respected, poorly paid and stressed throughout. Is it what we should be talking about? Thank you so much. And at this point, dear gentlemen, we are going to be creeping into the next talking point, and that is going to be looking at, of course, the Eto McBreeze a fracas that has been going on for so long, and the reconciliation that took place last week. And we are looking at if it was actually genuine or if it was altogether a facade. A lot has been happening without any further introduction. Mr. Kikishi, of course, the fake foot and the whole football chessboard in Cameroon has been like a raucous market. We know the back and forth between Fecafoot and Minsep, and now Eto McBreeze, and a lot has been happening just a few days into the competition against is it Cape Verde? What do you have to say?
I think that Cameroonians are used to the controversies that surrounds football in Cameroon for many years now. There has been controversy around Fecafoot, around our football, around our national team, around our first divisions, around our second divisions. And so it is not strange, and it is not an Etofis problem. It is a problem that has been existing for long, where so many technocrats, like the Joseph Ona of blessed memory and others, tried to resolve it, wherein FIFA stepped in severally. Arbitration committee in sports stepped in severally. Eto was not there. So it is not an issue that has seen birth because Etofis is at the helm of Fecafoot. It is an issue that has, for quite a while, surfaced without having concrete solutions. And I want to say that the Etof Minsep McBreeze issue simply fall out from unresolved or half-baked solutions. Half-baked solutions because the texts are there, the stakes that govern or give Fecafoot the governance over football in Cameroon, text that governs the relationship between Minsep and Fecafoot, text that governs who is the boss to the coach of the national team or what he comes in his objective or who pays it. Texts that govern how players are supposed to be treated, texts that govern everything about football in Cameroon, which are always thwarted for political reasons or because of administrative lacunas. I want to think that to say in the phrase whether the apology tendered by Etofis to McBreeze was genuine or not, it's like saying that giving the causes, the reason why Hitler attacked a country wherein Hitler, you have not spoken to Hitler to know from his mouth what governs, what made him to take that action. But I think that for the Etofis that some people has described as a very proud fellow, as a very unapologetic fellow, as a very, as a figure that is becoming too powerful to even say I'm sorry. For him to have gone down to say I'm sorry to McBreeze, it can only be genuine. For those people who think that he's too proud, too arrogant, because he would not have accepted in the first place to bow down himself. Secondly, the genuineness of this, I think that it was a genuine apology, so to say. First of all, you have to measure the consequences of a failure outing by the Indomitable Lions. Etofis says that the first thing that he has been given, entrusted the responsibility to manage Cameroon football affairs. And so anytime that the Lions do not make it, the first person that all the fingers, the 25 million or 27 million fingers, double the fingers now, times 10 by the population, several fingers are pointing and several millions of fingers are pointing back to him, not to the minister. So if he had, after committing, maybe he deemed it necessary that what he did was wrong, and that there's a match that is coming on Saturday, and that if they fail, more fingers will point at him. The only way I think, or the answer is that he bowed down genuinely to say to an elderly and senior personality,
which he did,
that I am sorry. So to me, it was genuine. Whatever or however Cameroonians are cooking the soup now to disfavor Eto'o, that Cameroon is a very wonderful country, a country made of several intellectuals, and where a country made of several millions of coaches. The minute that they are saying that Eto'o has done wrong, and Eto'o now bows to start accepting their own way, humble himself, and said that, okay, Papa, I am sorry for talking loudly to you. The same Cameroonians coming to say, you have failed, you have done this, you are failing. You see, so Cameroonians will push any administrator.
But do you think this strife, this conflict now is emanating from, from the fuse which happened, the vocal exchange between Mark Breeze, Dr. Busi Ernest, between Mark Breeze and the president of the Fecafoot? Or has it been a long-standing fight?
I think that the issue, if you look at the history of the issue, from the history you can know where it's coming from. It's a psychological tussle, the tussle for power that ego is coming in. And it's an issue not only says between Eto'o and the coach. It started from somewhere, and we know we have a minister. And there have always been an issue between the ministers and the presidents of Fecafoot. It's not always been easy. And also
so it's not an Eto'o thing?
Yes, it's not an Eto'o personal issue. And sometimes also the presidency comes in. You hear that the Secretary General or whatever in the presidency has given this communique, because these are issues of sport. Sometimes you hear that it's higher instruction from this or that. But I want to say that Eto'o masters his office very well, and they have put a square peg in a square hole that masters his office, and he knows the text. He has been a footballer, and he knows the ears of the government when it concerns football and what has been happening in football in Cameroon. And because of his personality, strong personality, he wants to stand for a better football federation in Cameroon, not only at the national level but international level, because I think that Eto'o is a square peg in a square hole. He has done a lot within a short period of time, and sometimes for political reasons they want to, Cameroon is a country that sometimes for political reasons they want to break his back down. Though he has his own temperament at times, it's natural for everybody, but he's a visionary. With visionaries, you always pass through difficult times to arrive where you want to arrive. And I think that this power tussle is not between the coach is using the coach is an opportunist now, because for me, the coach was supposed to be humble too, because you cannot be working with the president of Fecafoot in a country and they don't want to be humble.
No, but don't you think he who pays the piper dictates the
Yeah,
tone?
but I think that the coach also is an issue of positioning, because the coach wants to have power from hierarchy because of issue of selections and so on.
Who pays the coach? Who pays the coach, Dr.
It's complex. It's the state of Cameroon. But I want to say that if you look at the case of Cameroon recently, okay, did you ever know that Fecafoot was the one keeping all the football kits and all the equipments?
Because common sense will tell you that.
Did you know about that? Because most at times also, did you know that Fecafoot was keeping all the jerseys, all the equipment? It was embarrassing that our national team was going to train in assorted, like in primary school that they are going for. And even in our primary school and kindergarten school, they have their sport wear as uniform.
Before I come back to you for you to elaborate the psychological impact.
Yes, I want to say that. I want to just land by saying that is not good, it's not healthy for our nation. Though it is a strong leader, I want him to be soft too, because sometimes as a leader, you keep your pride away, you keep your ego away. But he's a good Eto'o still remains a good leader. He's a good leader. He knows the text of Fecafoot. He knows what he wants for football in Cameroon, and we should give him the opportunity. I think that Eto'o will do a good job.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, that was very rational of you, Dr. Busi Ernest. Mr. Sama, in all of this, I remember backstage we had a lot of exchange, and is being put on the spot. Should we just judge, or thrill his leadership all through? And do we see somebody who is very opposing, somebody who is very staunch, or somebody who is very determinant in radically changing, the status quo, or somebody who is very, loosely adamant and wanting to prove a point?
In my primary school readings, I don't know whether it's biblical, there's this story of King Midas, who was cursed and everything out of his greed for gold. A goddess asked him, what is your wish? And he said, my wish is that everything that I touch should turn into gold.
How does this tally?
That is an addition to the story of King Midas has some as his ears. Sometimes ago, there is the Secretary General of the Ministry of Communication, Professor Felix Uzogo, who was almost lynched on a TV platform similar to this one, when he was very pessimistic but very clear to the point that I foresee failure, because everything this gentleman has touched from when he became the captain of the national team, there were problems in the national team. That was the height of problems. Given the manner in which the captain armband was even given to him and how he managed his captaincy, there was a problem. Up to now. And I'm sure Professor Felix Zogo should be smiling now in his sleep. That, did I not tell you people? We remember for the first time in this country, this national team was to represent this country in, I'm sure it was Brazil 2014 World Cup. And the flag of the nation, the Prime Minister was humiliated in public view because Eto'o was the captain, and he led the players on the strike to refuse to take the flag from the hands of the Prime Minister, Philemon. I still remember a very solemn image of a Prime Minister in public view, and it was the coach who saved his image and took the flag of the nation was handed to a German, a foreigner, because a recalcitrant captain refused to take the flag. We know the things that happened. And so we remember there was a match in Yaoundé in public view, televised, where the coach did a substitution, called out a player who was already on the field of play to be replaced. Eto'o as a player in public view, televised, pulled back the player onto the field and told the coach, no, this player will play. And Fecafoot at that time under Iya Mohammed caused the coach, I'm sure it was Otto Pfister, I cannot remember, to apologize and take responsibility that it was my error. We have never seen that. For those of us watching Champions League foreign football, where a player obstructs a substitution in public televised view, it was the same Eto'o. And so, when people come to sugarcoat it and how he's so nice, he's the man of the situation, thank God I heard Dr. Busi say there is a personality problem where it ought to have been an institutional problem. Fecafoot and Minsef, not Eto'o. That's why I said I hate talking about it, because it will become too personal.
Now, is this you trying to deduce somebody's character by a one-time mistake?
No. I have given you a litany of them. No one. That's why I said I hate discussing this issue, because it would boil down to personalizing something which is institutional. That's where I cue in with KK. When he said it is not an Eto'o issue, but unfortunately his personality, as Busi has said, has exacerbated it, because he comes with a different personality, which the other Fecafoot bosses could contain and could accept and could swallow and could toe the line of the government. He has come with his own adversarial personality and said, no, I am the boss now. And so it will not work. Tikishi, may I remind you? I don't need to remind you. In 2022, after Cameroon hosted AFCON 2021, which was hosted in 2022 in Cameroon, which was rescheduled. It was in 2022 where the decision, which all of us still have, appointing Rigobert Song, came from the high instructions of the head of state, because it favored a certain Samuel Eto'o, because the choice of coaches were his selections. Even when the minister was slapped administratively, he humbled himself and accepted, because the minister was on TV, national television, 1 week before to say no, Antonio Conceição would be retained because he has done a good job, and so we shall retain him. Fecafoot, through its president, went on air and said no, we are dismissing him. 2 weeks after, a communique came from the presidency, high instructions of the head of state, Mr. Minister, validate the recruitment of Rigobert Song and this, and the dismissal of Conceição. And it was done. Nobody complained about high instructions. Now the same high instructions have said no, we want this person to be, and then the same person who benefited. Kikishi, if you don't eat dog meat, you don't drink dog meat pepper soup. If you don't eat the meat, you don't drink the soup. And so it is not tasty when it favors you. And when it doesn't favor you, you cry foul. No. And that's where the problem of the personality comes in. And that's why I said it is an institutional problem. And that is why FIFA was not stupid to have written to Fecafoot, go back and revise the 2014 convention between Fecafoot and the ministry. Because that's why I say it is not a personal issue, it's an issue of institutions. When the government said no, I will give you this. Yes, FIFA says the management of football is in the hands of the Football Federation, Fecafoot in every country. But the government goes in and says no, as you said, I pay the piper, so I should dictate the tune.
I think those histories are very important.
That's why I am saying, Tikishi, it is an institutional problem which is being personalized by the personality of a strong man syndrome that thinks it is either my way or the highway.
And which is right or wrong?
Let us look at what is the ideal and what is real. Kikishi, let me just give you this analogy. You have a wife and you share responsibilities. Madam, collect rent from our municipality and take care of the school fee for the primary school, kindergartens, and their feeding. I will use the other money for the other projects. Don't you have a right to still have an eye on what Madam does with what you have empowered her?
Of course not.
What if there is a problem? What if there is a problem where she cannot manage and the cost of her mismanagement falls back on you? Cameroon is owing Conceição 1 billion francs. Coq Sportif is awaiting us with close to 10 billion francs from the same errors of the same strongman personality that we're talking about. And all of those factors will be borne and paid for by the government of Cameroon.
Okay, but don't you think,
Mr.
Sama, I think the microphone should cross.
Take this one. Is the government now wrong to put an eye to say no? Maybe I gave you a lot of latitude to manage this, and it is instead costing me a lot. Let us come back to the drawing board, and I take back some.
And don't you think it could be because of government infiltration?
We are very fortunate that we have had a program without light cuts. But government of Cameroon gave out energy sector to a foreign country. The government of Cameroon, by saying that they are paying the coach, is selling the goat and holding the rope. If they give the responsibility on the national team to Fecafoot, they without putting any dime, Fecafoot will manage the national teams very well. No, let me learn. Are you seeing? I have just made an example of the Eneo sector, the energy sector, and you can go to other sectors. What I am saying here is that
football associations in the Western world, along which lines FIFA tailored its laws, is not football management in third world countries. In the Western world, the teams and almost even fourth division clubs have their stadium.
How does it come? That's where it wants to take our football to. Listen to me. Someone listen to me. Let me talk.
Kikishi, calm down. in African countries where football federation, football management is still a social and political responsibility. The PM of the UK does not need the English national team to win a tournament for him to campaign and win elections. No.
So,
in African countries,
you see where you're actually coming to what I'm saying. That they want to use food to people using football for political ends, and that's why they tie the money from them. They put a fraction of the money or the finance the costing. When in 1994, when we were going to the World Cup, Mr. Sama, I was given the microphone to talk.
Go to Southern America.
Please, Mr. Sama,
I was given the microphone to talk.
Please, Mr. Sama. Mr. Sama, please. Mr. Sama, the microphone has been given. Mr. Sama, please, the microphone.
In 1994.
Hello and welcome to the program. Mr. Sama, please, can you refrain? Mr. Sama, it's my panel and I'm here the moderator. Mr. Maka, Mr. Sama, please. Mr. Kikishi, Mr. Sama, please.
Mr. Sama,
can you refrain from talking? I'm the moderator here, please. And some respect and decorum must be given to the panel. You're welcome to the program. Hello, good evening. You're welcome. What do you have to say, please?
Yeah, thank you, Madam the moderator. I am Mr. Angwa Lawrence calling from Limbe.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lawrence. And how is Limbe doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm very well.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I want to come in the place of the other speaker who is talking against it too. First of all, I want to put it that we are here to discuss facts, not sentiments. It's high time we should stop playing ping pong game. There are facts we should be discussing: the text binding Fecafoot and the ministry. It's so exaggerating to hear him say football in the Western world is managed different like that in the third world country. Are we grooving ourselves to meet the standard of the Western world, or we are going backward? That is so archaic to go with. You keep saying that Eto'o was the one who manned the chance of Rigo Rebellion becoming the coach. Those are just sentiments. Do you have the facts? This high time our national team is going down the drain, and people should not be brought on this podium to derail us rather from than looking for solutions.
No, I'm sorry, sir. You won't tell me.
Yes, I don't know the other speaker's name, but the man who you've given him time to talk about Samuel Eto'o. The good thing he has done, he came to the limelight as the president of Fecafoot. We saw all the 7 sister bosses. You have not heard about player bonuses in the national team. From the second division, even our football league, our female football league has been boasting. The number of people who go into the stadium to watch football, the number they are doubling by the day. Thanks to Samuel Eto'o. Our players now go to they receive their money payment from the banks. We have not heard that any player is traveling again in poverty. The reason why you see that a team like Bambutu was suspended last time because Eto'o asked for accountability. I give you money, and players are complaining about non-payment of salaries, and they suspend the team. And I want to think that people like them were the ones grumbling about. That is how you accredit and you substantiate and try to tell somebody to bring accountability.
Okay,
for
sir.
a short time, I think if other managers would have implemented what Eto'o has done, we have gone far.
Okay, sir.
Please, we should not discuss sentiment, we should discuss facts.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your input. Thank you. Please.
Sorry, I'm trying to say that there's no journey that has no speed bumps or speed breaks or traffic. Eto'o is just young in his debut as an administrator. And we said that the school of experience is experience itself. He is in the
We still have another caller. This caller has been insisting. Mr. Kikishi, I'm going to give it back. Hello and welcome to the program. We have a caller on the line. Hello, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Please, in 1 minute, state whatever you want to say. Thank you so much.
All right. I am Wisho Diodone.
Bring down the volume of your receiver, Mr. Diodone, please.
All right, what I want to say is, Abed Biko, when you people are discussing something, be sincere. Say something we will understand. A lot of people are following this program, especially in Northwest and Southwest here, because most of us,
We don't know what is going on over there. Even on Facebook, it's difficult for us to identify what is actually happening. Then when we do a discussion like that, people are the hierarchy people who can explain better to us, so that we will know what is happening. But I don't like when people are shouting like that. It is making me boring.
Thank you so much, Mr. Diodone. Of course, that is going to be taken into total cognizance. Yes, Mr. Kekishi, please, in a few seconds.
There's a syndrome that is killing Cameroonians. There's a confusion syndrome. There's deformation syndromes. Cameroonians, they don't take time to get information on strategies that administrators are taking. And the caller from Limbe, the other caller.
Hello and welcome to the program, Mr. Kekishi, and this is going to be the last time I'm going to be quoting you. Hello, welcome to the program. Please bring down the volume of your receiver. Welcome to the program. You're live. Thank you, Mr. Kekishi. Go ahead.
He highlighted a few achievements that Eto'o has made so far, which some people are so blind to those achievements, which have never happened in the Cameroon football system. Remember that this young man started a big tussle with our legendary General Semenge of Linafoot, which was very easy. And so his image has been painted black simply because he is trying to change the status quo. He first came in and said that no, coaches cannot be taking this small salary. He uplifted their salaries, categorized them, and reclassified them, giving them good salaries. And he went to the first division and did the same. Went down to second level and said, no, the players should not be taken below this kind of. And then he gave out money. Before we know it, some players are still crying that they have not paid thousands, and then he wants to find out they didn't pay their salaries. And that's where he started having problem with team president. That no, the actors of football must feed from football. So a lot of politicking around Eto'o, painting him.
So what is your point? What is your point? Okay, fine, a positive change.
I want to say that we have to be serious to be the country. And I see Eto'o as a visionary, because if we have about 4 Eto'os in Cameroon, Cameroon will be better. I don't know why we ring Maro and say things. If we have 4 Eto'os, we're young people who have been advocating for change. And when we see a young man that can stand the state, you know, it's not easy to stand the state of Cameroon for justice and to stand the state of Cameroon for the right thing. This is Eto'o is somebody who has spent his money in Cameroon football, if you don't know. He has spent his money, he has done a lot of sensitization. Eto'o has educated us on a lot of things. Eto'o has educated us on a lot of things. So we should not tarnish his image, please. We should not come on platform to tarnish his image. He spends his personal money, if you like it or not. Eto'o has sacrificed and is building our football from the primary level to the tertiary level. Even
and other divisions or first divisions,
the first divisions and so on. And you see now that people are being paid and so on, and he's seeing that we can use the stadiums we have. And many people are going to the field now. And we in Maro, what about the presidents of FECAFO embezzling monies and keep in their private coffers? So this is a young man who has a vision, and I think that we should support his vision for Cameroon football to grow. And there is a text government. Let me tell you, we have the Ministry of Sport. The Ministry of Sport is not all about football. They have volleyball, they have all sorts of sports. Let me tell you, Federation for Football, you have given FECAFO a role to play as a federation. Allow them to play their role. When you interject them not to play, Eto'o is somebody who understands the text of FECAFO.
I think, Doctor, somebody wants to cue in from what you're saying.
They should just sit together and sit with the minister and the coach and reconcile so that Cameroon football can... because it's like a nation issue. We're talking about a nation issue. Of course, national. So the nation is greater than individuals.
All right. Good evening to you, Madam, the moderator and the panelists. This FECAFO and MINSEP issue has taken this twist because a majority of Cameroonians do not want the star legend Eto'o criticized, forgetting that he was elected and has to answer questions to those who elected him. What hurts more is the way MINSEP and FECAFO keep dragging our nation in the mud. But I think the 2015 conversion, which many people don't have a mastery of, has helped both institutions from Rango Elephants. Rango Elephants, if you can make precisions on this conversion, I think you're going to be educating the viewers. Thank you so much for that submission. This one says, greeting dear panelists. It said very straight, 3 is mostly earmarked for cotton, or the tree is mostly earmarked for cotton. In Cameroon football, that's why he faces a lot of problem. Greetings. There is so much talk about high instructions. I doubt the truth of it. There are some personalities at the presidency who are manipulating these high instructions. If the high instructions were true, it would have been in writing and no one would have ventured to disobey. So if you see these personalities still fighting after the high instructions, it means they know the fraudulent place it's coming from. Thank you so much, and a lot more. Dr. Busi, you had
Thank you, Madam the moderator. I think that if Etofis is given the opportunity, Cameroon football will grow, and everybody has a strength and a weakness. Sometimes they say Eto'o is so arrogant, but some of us are more arrogant even than Eto'o. And I want to say this is a young man that if you give him Cameroon for a day, Eto'o will change a lot of things, and he wants to see things to be, he's a disciplinarian. And though he has his weaknesses, but I think that the minister as a father also call your son, you put dialogue together and see how to solve the problem, because you are the father. The minister is an elderly person, is a professor, and the minister of sport is not an expert in sport. It's a law professor. So sometimes to get, because Eto'o has played in many clubs, Eto'o has the knowledge. Eto'o also has been even coached for some months, and Eto'o has friends. He has all his life, all his career is in sport. So he understands the gymnastics about Cameroon football, and also what the past, those in the past, what they were gaining. But now, let me tell you, madam, Eto'o has all the luxuries. If Eto'o resigns today, he has nothing. Eto'o has all the luxury, he has all the money, he has all the fancy, he has everything.
But why are people capitalizing on this arrogance, especially with the previous
It's because
episode?
It's somebody that stands for his right. You cannot come to my office, you are abusing me, madam. You come to my office, listen, Eto'o is the president of FECAFOOT. A coach is the one who selects the player. Though you work with FECAFOOT, you don't come to an office of somebody who is the president of FECAFOOT in the country. You cannot listen to him. And somebody cannot come from the ministry.
But Eto'o did not
hire. No, listen, madam.
Magris.
He did not hire, but he is in the office of Eto'o.
So you see the tight spot where Magris could
listen.
be.
He was supposed. No, madam. If you look at it from a detailed perspective, you see that even the coach, sometimes his words too was not healthy. So psychologically, both of them were wrong. But even the coach was also wrong to a greater extent, because the way the coach was talking, it was not conducive. Eto'o is in his office. He has come for us to talk. If you don't want to listen to Eto'o, fire him. But though it's the government that pays the coach, but I want to say that they should reconcile. Reconciliation is
I
very
think
important.
in your conclusion phase, you're going to be telling us the damages to the health of, all the psychology.
Even to the players, it has a lot of psychological impact to the players.
We are rounding up the program.
You may recall that Etofis is one of the black players that suffered from racism in Europe, despite the fact that he's one of the highest or the best player, one of the best players in this century. But he suffered a lot of racism while he was at his topmost performance. And so he sees somebody who is coming in the name of a coach. Eto'o is the direct boss of Magris, not the minister. Even though there's a general say that he who pays the piper dictates the tune.
Exactly.
And that's where I say that this country is a very is one unique country where FECAFOOT has not said that they don't have the means to pay the coach. But the fact that the government is paying the coach is a way to give out the goods, sell the goods, and hold the rope. And so every time they will be popping into the affairs of FECAFOOT. Remember the 1994 World Cup in the USA, where we contributed taxpayer money, hundreds of millions, and one minister of sports.
Okay, this one says
took it, and maybe you cannot call me this time around. Took it, and we only heard that the money was, the money has never reached the Lions till today. It is between Paris and New York. So I am saying that somebody who has passion for football has come. Let I heard
Allow
one,
him
one
walk.
of the one of FECAFOO's vice president said in one media channel that he has said it clearly that the FECAFOO do not need government's money to run the national teams of Ghana.
Okay, greetings,
Run the
especially to
football.
Mr. Kikishi Kenneth. Good insight. Mark Breeze doesn't love Cameroon football. He came for money and his exposure. How could he side other than being not neutral? A man from west of the globe, as I know, would have resigned for the two parties to solve their problems. A good coach would not accept such a contract, which, with the kind of atmosphere that surrounded football in Cameroon, he is not a good administrator. I think you've just said what one of my colleagues,
And Madam,
Claudine Ivy,
Madam,
has
and
been
one
saying.
thing is that
Please,
how do you
go to the psychology.
the first thing
how
is that
bruising.
how do you reconcile with somebody? The person say I'm sorry, the person embrace you. You go to another meeting again. You say no, I will not work with his own people. It shows a lot about the coach too. Meaning that he's money minded. He's here for his money and so on.
No, he has not understood.
And
that
I want to
boss
say that
people
psychology.
cannot
He has a psychology.
But why can you not see it that
Yes, yes.
he has not understood that his boss in Cameroon
It's
is
Eto'o.
not, or is
His direct
Eto'o.
boss is Eto'o.
No, but he has to
President of
understand.
FECAFOO.
How?
He claims that he's a coach. He's a coach. You are supposed to know that in every country they have a football federation. Every country, even the Nigerian federation is very powerful. When we had issues in our football, we won them during the qualification matches. You saw what happened. Their federation is very powerful. So the federation is an independent body. You cannot come to Cameroon, you want to deal only with the ministry and avoid the federation. The federation governs everything, manages the football of the country, while the ministry is like the bigger body that supervises the activity of the federation and also other sporting activities.
Dr. Busi, it's almost
So
10
I want to
minutes
say
past
that
8 p.m. Look
I
at
want
the
to say that
damages as a
it has,
psycho-
even if we win, the spirit of patriotism is already not there psychologically for us. And then also now you know that there are already people who created a strong morale with Samuel Eto'o, and now they will be feeling that Samuel Eto'o, now they are with the coach, psychologically it affects their relationship with Samuel Eto'o now. Most of the players, you see how players were being welcomed. Some will be welcomed by the delegate of Samuel Eto'o and
Hello and welcome to the
it has
program.
a
1 minute, Dr.
relational
Busi.
issue.
Okay, that's fine.
It will create a negative climate, but now it will be very difficult. So there's that disparity, there's that gap that needs to be filled, and the only thing to solve that one now is to solve the problem, to reconcile and embrace each other and to be genuine. But I want to say that as for now, if they don't solve it, there's a psychological problem in the mind that will affect the players.
Hello and welcome to the
Samuel
program.
Eto'o has a great role to play.
Please, in just 4 seconds, can you say why you're calling?
Okay, I want to just say, what is happening in the news, I think it's something.
Bring down the volume of your television, please. Bring down the volume of your television and say what you have to say. Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Kikishi. Please, your final word, just one word, and we are facing Cape Verde in just how many days? 4 days from now, and there is a lot of distortion. We hear the Lions in all their splendor going out for trainings with assorted dresses or casual dresses, and we hear they came through a local bus service, Mosango bus service, and we hear the jerseys were bought from Mukolo markets. All of that, even though that could be a sabotage, but I mean the idea behind this is there is a shipwrecking in the football sporting milieu. Your final words, please, if Eto'o and Mark Breeze were watching.
For players to have been selected to represent the national team of Cameroon in a crisis period, I think their morale cannot be derailed by the assorted dresses. They are stronger than the outfits that they wore.
That's a psychological implication. Sir.
No, listen to me very well. For players to be selected and there's controversy around their selection, it helps to boost their morale even more, to prove to Cameroonians that if they were in the other competition that just passed, where we had mediocre performance, they would have done better than the other people. So I guarantee you that we have the Lions fighting spirit is not the color of a shirt or a t-shirt that will distort it. And if they know that they represent an emblem, the Cameroon emblem, they know that they have a lion spirit, there's nothing that will distort them. They know that there's a lot of politics around their selection, but it is going to boost their morale rather. So
thank you so much.
A very big picture of 3 note on
Now I want to end by saying that